everyone, it's Maki here. Today, I'll be introducing a mobile suit that appears in the Seed series. It's the GuAIZ. This mass-produced mobile suit was created by Zaft to secure victory in the Cosmic Era 71 war. But how exactly was it developed? Let's take a closer look at the history of the GuAIZ together. If you enjoy this kind of content, I'd really appreciate it if you considered supporting my channel by joining the 99-cent monthly membership. As a thank you, you'll receive a name badge and exclusive comment stamps. Alright, let's begin our research. The GuAIZ series technology, which they successfully stole from the Earth Alliance, came as a great surprise to the Zaft forces. After analyzing the Gundam's performance, Zaft began developing a new main mobile suit. They used the existing main mobile suit design as the basis for this new design. They then developed a high-mobility mobile suit focused on close combat, incorporating data from the Blitz Gundam. The most distinctive feature of this new mobile suit is the additional arms mounted on its backpack. These arms are equipped with beam sabers and Vulcan guns and were specifically designed for mobile suit versus mobile suit combat. The new mobile suit is also equipped with a heat net that can electrify and damage enemies. Thus, a jet black mobile suit was born that would shape the future for coordinators. Hey, you just started talking about a development history I've never heard before. I can almost hear voices like that coming from the other side of the screen. To be precise, this setting does not actually belong to the GuAIZ. It belongs to a mobile suit called Arakune. When the CTV anime series was being broadcast, there was a project in which new mobile suits were created based on designs submitted by viewers and then appeared in the show. The design selected through that project was Arakune. The designer Kunio Okawara then used this design and its setting as a foundation to create the GuAIZ. Mr. Okawara is a legendary figure who has designed many mobile suits in the Gundam series. He is a familiar name to dedicated fans. He is also the creator of the first Gundam. Now, bearing in mind the Arakune setting, let's take a look at the GuAIZ itself. You will see how Mr. Okawara and the production team honor the passion of the fans. The GuAIZ was developed as the next generation, mass-produced mobile suit to succeed the Zin. This extremely important development project was aimed at shaping the future of the plants and the coordinators. Previously, Zaft's mobile suits were developed separately by individual companies within the plants. However, for the development of the GuAIZ, an organization called the Integrated Design Bureau was formed. Mace Military Industry took on the role of coordinating multiple organizations. This company was primarily responsible for developing and manufacturing firearms for mobile suits. Its most notable characteristic was that it functioned as a de facto state-owned enterprise. Consequently, the GuAIZ was developed through the united effort of the entire plant. Once its design was finalized, the GuAIZ was unveiled to the world as propaganda. This announcement took place on 23 January, Cosmic Era 71. This was just 2 days before the battle depicted in the first episode of the TV anime series. While a cruiser successfully captured the GuAIZ series from the Earth Alliance forces. After analyzing the technology of these latest mobile suits, Zaft engineers were met with tremendous shock. They also fully realized the scale of the threat directed towards them. Consequently, the design of the GuAIZ was revised. They anticipated future successor units of the GuAIZ series which would eventually be mass-produced and deployed against them. In order to counter these, the GuAIZ was equipped with compact beam weapons for mobile suits and equipment designed to counter phase shift armor. It took a great deal of time to analyze and put these technologies into practical use. Consequently, more than half a year passed before the GuAIZ was finally deployed in combat. The completed GuAIZ outperformed the Earth Alliance's strike dagger. However, beam rifles, which had become standard equipment for both the Earth Alliance forces and Zaft, were weapons capable of destroying a mobile suit in a single shot. The reality facing the GuAIZ was that mobile suit performance alone could no longer guarantee superiority on the battlefield. Consequently, compared to the Zin at the beginning of the war, the GuAIZ was unable to achieve particularly notable combat results. Although the GuAIZ did not achieve significant battlefield success, its design was exceptionally robust and it had a considerable impact on the history of the cosmic era. In the early stages of its development, it was an extremely high-performance mobile suit. However, many of its functions were removed during the transition to mass production. The original GuAIZ design was later adopted for the high-performance mobile suits known as the X series. These include the legendary Freedom and Justice Gundams. Including their successor units that inherited this technology, these mobile suits have saved humanity from crisis many times. In that sense, the GuAIZ effectively fulfilled the role of saver for humanity's future. While the completed GuAIZ is often considered to have played a minor role, this assessment is not entirely accurate. Prior to full deployment, pre-production units were assigned to select ace pilots and commanders, while a cruiser also fought in the white GuAIZ. The GuAIZ piloted by cruiser engaged the strike Gundam. It actually defeated the strike Gundam, which was considered the strongest unit in the war. The design concept of defeating a mobile suit equipped with phase shift armor was fully realized. However, the GuAIZ was immediately defeated by the Freedom Gundam after this victory. Based on the original GuAIZ design, the Freedom Gundam proved to be far too powerful an opponent for the officially adopted production version of the GuAIZ. Now let's take a look at the GuAIZ's weapons. First up are the head-mounted Vulcan guns. These are the same type of weapon found on the Freedom Gundam. The concept of mounting Vulcan guns on the head is also seen in the GATX series. According to the reference book Mechanic and World, they were influenced by the GATX series. Additionally, in the spin-off Freedom Astray, Courtney Hero Linus describes the head Vulcan guns as an effective weapon for intercepting incoming objects such as missiles. Courtney is also a mechanic who participated in the development of the Destiny Gundam. However, by the final stage of the war, when the GuAIZ was deployed, the Earth Alliance forces primarily used the tactical mass-beam rifle volleys from large numbers of mobile suits. Consequently, there were few opportunities for the head Vulcan guns to shine in the story. Next is the beam rifle. Zaft successfully brought this weapon into practical use after investing a great deal of time. However, the 2005 publication Seed and See Destiny Mobile Suit file describes it as still in the testing phase as an officially adopted weapon. A key difference from previous soft weapons is that this one uses a system where energy is supplied directly from the mobile suit itself. Traditional Zaft mobile suit weapons were designed to fire using magazines or built-in energy packs. Even the older, larger beam weapons used by the Zin relied on energy packs. However, the GuAIZ beam rifle is powered directly by the mobile suit. The development process of this system remains unclear. There are no clear descriptions of its development process in any available sources. The method of connecting the weapon to a connector in the palm of the mobile suit is a system used by Earth Alliance mobile suits. Therefore, it may have been influenced by the GATX series. There is also a mystery surrounding this beam rifle. In the TV anime series, it is used by a Sea-Goo. The Sea-Goo is an older mobile suit compared to the GuAIZ. Why was the Sea-Goo able to use the GuAIZ's beam rifle? The exact reason is unknown. Could the battery installed in the Sea-Goo still be capable of powering the beam rifle? There is a small clue in its battle with the Strike Gundam. In that scene, the GuAIZ fires its beam rifle in rapid succession. However, the Sea-Goo uses it without rapid firing. This suggests that as long as it is not fired continuously, even an older mobile suit can use it. But once again, no clear explanation is provided in any source. Next is the dual beam claw. This close combat weapon is mounted on the shield. The GuAIZ's shield was originally designed as standard defensive equipment. However, after analyzing the Brits Gundam, Soft focused on the effectiveness of mounting offensive weapons on a shield and developed this concept further. The Sea-Goo shield was also referenced during development. The advantage of this weapon is that it can activate beam breaks that are effective against phase shift armor without the need to switch weapons. When combined with the beam rifle, it can execute consecutive attacks effectively. During the battle with the Strike Gundam, the GuAIZ steadily cornered the enemy with continuous attacks, forcing it to abandon its equipment. The Strike Gundam was then swiftly defeated by the GuAIZ. When paired with a skilled pilot, this weapon demonstrates remarkable combat performance. This design concept was later adopted for the Providence Gundam shield. Next is the external arrestor. This piece of equipment was inspired by the glide pair used by the Brits Gundam. It features two claws and a beam cannon muzzle at its tip. An interesting note, in the 2005 publication Seed and Sea Destiny mobile suit file states that by retaining particles, it is also possible to generate a beam saber. In the Seed universe, beam sabers are formed using mirage colloid particles. Therefore, it is likely that this anchor has the function of emitting mirage colloid particles. Perhaps during the design stage, it was envisaged that the anchor could be used in an invisible state with mirage colloid stealth technology. However, no materials provide a clear explanation of this. It is left to the viewer to interpret this. The anchor is designed to capture the enemy with its claws and then destroy it with a beam cannon fired at point-blank range. In the TV anime series, there are scenes in which the anchor explodes immediately upon making contact with the target. Even more surprisingly, the cable connected to this anchor is said to be dozens of meters long. The cylindrical component mounted on the backpack serves as the cable storage case. The vague description of dozens of meters really stands out. Since this was a cutting-edge mobile suit, perhaps the detailed specifications were treated as classified information. Another important point is that it attacks with a beam cannon from extremely close range. This weapon is designed to destroy mobile suits equipped with phase shift armor. Phase shift armor provides extremely high resistance to physical impact. However, this does not mean that beam weapons are its weakness. It also offers resistance to heat. In fact, Genesis's spaceship armor operates at an extremely high output, even nullifying battleship beam and positron cannons. By firing the beam cannon at close range, it is possible to prevent the beam from attenuating to the greatest extent possible. This suggests that the external arrestor was developed specifically to defeat mobile suits with especially powerful phase shift armor. However, please bear in mind that this point includes my own interpretation. That said, it is also a fact that this weapon was used to defeat the Strike Gundam. Do you remember the setting of Alekune? It was described as a successor to the GuAIZ Gundam. The fact that it carries equipment influenced by GuAIZ Gundam weaponry suggests that it inherits Arakune's concept. The claw-equipped anchor also resembles the concept of multiple arms. Moreover, Alekune is a Greek word meaning spider or spider's web. Doesn't a weapon that fires a cable to restrain an opponent resemble a spider's thread? These elements really demonstrate the effort made to respect the original designer's concept. Personally, I think the GuAIZ is a fantastic mobile suit. What do you think the GuAIZ is exactly? Do you see it as an unfortunate mobile suit that didn't have much of a chance to shine in the story? That interpretation certainly isn't wrong. After all, it was defeated by the Freedom Gundam shortly after its debut. Even after it was mass-produced, there were many scenes in which it was destroyed without having the opportunity to demonstrate its high performance. However, the Gelgoog from the original 0079 was in a very similar situation. Operated by the Zeon forces, the Gelgoog was created under circumstances extremely close to those of the GuAIZ. Although it has never been officially stated, it is almost certain that the GuAIZ was designed with the Gelgoog as its inspiration. Like the GuAIZ, the Gelgoog saw little remarkable success because it was formerly deployed near the end of the war. Nevertheless, its unfortunate fate left a strong impression on many viewers. Consequently, the Gelgoog has had many opportunities to shine in spin-offs and other stories. Let's look forward to seeing what the future holds for the GuAIZ. After all, the Freedom and Justice Gundams carry on the GuAIZ's DNA. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. I'll see you again in the next episode.